come on, just give it a try.
All right, maybe just a little.
So listen, all you singers from here to Beijing, you better crash the box string, get ready to clean.
This is Cringe.
The full moon brings out the monster in you.
Welcome to Hotel Transylvania.
Man, I remember 2009 watching Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs in theaters and was hit with an epiphany. This 3D cartoon movie actually moves and bends like a cartoon. The dynamic squashing and stretching, it's standard in 2D, but in 3D at the time, I didn't know it could be done. Other studios like Pixar were always pushing for more grounded movement, but Sony Pictures Animation was deviating from that for what Cloudy did. Yet, that was just a taste, as merely a few years later in 2012, the same studio, Sony, gave us the start of Hotel Transylvania. Inspired by the classic Universal monster movies with a bouncy cartoon style and a story about creatures facing discrimination which includes a fine-ass Batgirl, Darkstalkers is such a cool fighting game. But anyway, Hotel Transylvania. It's the real dark universe we deserve. No Tom Cruise here, and it's one of Sony Animation's biggest hits, spawning sequels, cartoons, and shorts, but getting to that point was a production mess.
Geronimo!
Tell me, please.
The first movie from 2012 was pitched 10 years prior. During that time, the project switched between 6 directors and originally was going to be about Dracula's daughter in love with Van Helsing, as opposed to just an average guy like the movie we got. It wasn't until the creator of Dexter's Lab and Samurai Jack, Genndy Tartakovsky, took up directing duties. By the time he got on, several character models and set pieces were already made and taken from other unfinished movies. Mavis, in fact, was from a romantic comedy Sony Animation gave up on. With years of development, no one was quite sure what to do with this film, but Genndy had a vision. Influences of Mad Monster Party, Tex Avery, Mad Magazine, just goofy stuff. So, out of pure desperation, Sony was willing to experiment on this 3D toon style, but only because they were desperate.
Things that are a quick sketch for Genndy to do that look so great in, a few strokes of the pen can take us hours and hours to achieve. Mummy was pushed into something really intense, and recreating that pose took hours and hours.
It was just broad physical comedy that translated to any language. That's why this series became one of Sony's biggest hits. So, let's cover them all for Gothtober. It's Juice and Jam time.
Mad monster party.
A place void of torches, pitchforks, angry mobs. A place of peace, relaxation, and tranquility.
Cool, so it's like a hotel for monsters?
Yes, exactly. A hotel for monsters.
Way to sum it up.
I'm a monster, I'm a monster, I'm a monster, I'm a monster, I'm a monster.
In 2012 was the first in the franchise, Hotel Transylvania 1. Dracula creates a hotel where monsters can safely go for vacation away from humans, as his young, sexually blossoming daughter Mavis is now old enough.
Old enough for what?
Old enough to go out into the world, but because humans hate monsters, Dracula is overprotective. He spends a lot of the time warning fellow monsters about the absolute worst humanity has to offer. Children, Karens, Keemstar, Logan Paul. To throw a wrench into the propaganda, Jonathan, a human, stumbles into the hotel and tries to bang Dracula's daughter.
Human. Who are you, and how did you find this place?
Oh, I'm Jonathan, and I was just mountain climbing with some dudes.
Will this human be able to Bella her Lugosi? Watch the movie and find out. Oh no, don't bone inside the mouth of Aganos from Killer Instinct.
Jonathan, stop trying to bang my daughter.
Right up there with Rotel Dorado, these movies are just real feel-good affairs. That zippy style of movement does so much, though revisiting the first movie, the animation is still great, but is so subdued compared to how much more expressive the sequels got. And with this movie taking place almost entirely in the hotel, it's very small in scale. Part 1 is just a solid little film. Oh, and with this conflict between monsters and humans, they do a lot of blatant stuff with this allegory about discrimination, like portrayals in media being the only frame of reference to an outsider and how it affects people's perception.
I'm Dracula, blah, blah, blah. I've never said that in my life. Blah, blah, blah. I don't know where that comes from.
Now, bro, in this 2012 movie, they made fun of Twilight.
Tell me, do you dream of being a vampire?
This is how we're represented. Unbelievable.
Alright, was this movie worth watching just for the Twilight jab it has in it? Yeah, kinda.
But the best part of this movie is that it has an entire scene dedicated to ripping Twilight. Yes! I mean, the audience actually applauded. I was like, thank goodness I'm in a semi-smart theater now. They actually took the time to make an entire scene dedicated to Twilight hate.
Epic, bro. I tip my Reddit gold to thee. Now, with this being the theatrical directorial debut of Genndy Tartakovsky, I can really feel his influence. Like, this was just after his previous show, Symbiotic Titan, was cancelled too soon. Some of these shots just have that DNA in here. While at Comic-Con 2011, Genndy did mention there'd be a Dexter's Lab sticker on Jonathan's scooter as an Easter egg, but I can't seem to find it. They probably couldn't get clearance to use it.
I didn't do that.
Oh yes, you did! I saw that, you son of a bitch! To animators, we see this as a Genndy movie, but many others, including critics, brush this off as an Adam Sandler film starring all his unemployed friends. Yeah, the movie has flaws, there's some low-hanging jokes, John and Drac become friends a little too fast, and they really shoehorn a forgettable bad guy who barely does anything. But I feel people were too harsh on it for the voice cast. This released back when the hate for Sandler films were reaching its boiling point. He kept pumping out movies that often took place in foreign locations. Critics called them glorified vacations that he happened to shoot a film in. Hotel Transylvania was no different. Oh, what, now Adam's in a cartoon hotel? Did he find out how to take a vacation in goddamn Roger Rabbit land?
Hey, thanks for saving me back there. That guy's crazy! Trying to eat me? That's only happened to me one other time, this weird dude at a Slipknot concert.
Regardless of his other films, Sandler and his friends do a fine job here. I see these characters as actual characters and not just their voices. There's Frankenstein, Fat Fuck Mummy, Invisible Man who's got his dick out, and the Wolf Man who didn't pull out. He's got like 1 million kids and is fed up with it. You know what they say, can't stand a dog in heat, stay out of the kennel. I learned that the hard way. Hotel Transylvania 1 is still a pretty solid, feel-good movie. There's some moments of trying too hard to be trendy, but they're minimal. Until the last 5 minutes.
So listen, all you singers from here to Beijing, you better crash the box and get ready to clean.
Awful. No. God, no. Ow. This is, honest to God, one of the worst damn things I've ever seen in my life. But can it get any worse from here? Let's find out.
Hola a todos, aquí estoy con Mavis de la nueva película Hotel Transylvania 2.
Hola, don Francisco.
Hey, how about we cover some of the shorts too? Released in 2012 as a bonus online and in the DVD, Goodnight Mr Foot is a 2D short also directed by Genndy, and it features art from his friends who've worked on Samurai Jack. Dan Kroll and Scott Wills. It's about Bigfoot just trying to get a good night's sleep but keeps getting interrupted. It's pretty funny and shows how well this franchise works in 2D, but it's only 3 minutes long, so it cuts off when it was getting good. Now, here's where it gets confusing. I was wondering if Bigfoot even appeared in the film, and yeah, except he's gigantic.
It's okay, we all get stomach aches, Mr. Bigfoot.
Maybe this short's a prequel and he grew over time? What's interesting is that Bigfoot was white in the trailer. I was confused as to why, but then I realized he's a recolored CG model as there's multiple Yetis in the background. Maybe there's multiple Bigfoots too? There's massive Yetis also, unless they just forgot to recolor those. I don't know, don't think about it. Next.
What's wrong with suffer, scream in pain, blood is spilling from your brain?
Daddy.
Come on, you know how I sang it to you.
'Cause I'm in love with a monster.
You know what? I think I like the sequel better. Released in 2015, Hotel Transylvania 2 features even better expressive animation. And as it is part 2, it's good to see these characters progress through their lives. Jonathan gets married to Mavis, bangs her, didn't pull out, had a kid, oops, and 5 years pass. The couple go meet John's in-laws on a road trip while Dracula cares for their toddler. Drac wants to teach him to be a proper vampire because he feels vampires today are too sensitive since they no longer grow up snorting lead paint in coal mines or some boomer crap.
Ah, there it is, Denisovich, where Papa learned to fly.
Ooh, I want to fly like Papa.
Yeah, we're over here now. Had to scale it down. Insurance.
The tone is a little less serious, though they still keep up the race allegory with not everyone agreeing with humans and monsters being together. This takes place 5 years after the first, yet they do not age. I get monsters live a long time and wear the same thing, but I wish Jonathan got a new outfit. It doesn't feel like much time has passed after the first. Maybe it's to keep up with the cartoon logic of wearing the same clothes, or marketing, or they didn't want to rig another attire. The animation was difficult enough, but the cloth simulations over them presented a whole new challenge.
A real human was to move this way, posing from frame to frame as quickly as Johnny was. Not only would they break their arms, but they would tear through their clothes. So in order to make things simpler on the cloth simulation side, what we do is we'd break up the shot into chunks where the character is moving semi-realistically, where our solver could handle that, and then stitch each piece back together to make it one congruent shot.
On top of better animation, there's more location variety. Everything's been multiplied, but so too is the stuff that made the first movie cringe. Then again, it didn't make the first movie cringe, it made us, the audience, cringe. Yeah, check out the goth girl I financially support on OnlyFans. No regrets. Live free, simp hard. Oh, and Sony really hammered down on the use of Sony products, but at least it mostly feels woven into the story. Like if this was just a generic no-name phone, it would feel about the same.
I saw.
Mother's already. Nazi cuckoo. Nazi cuckoo. Cuckoo. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh my devil.
On the rare occasion, there's a little too much on screen where some gags don't quite land since I can't really gauge where the focal point is. Again, it's rare. Still, I could forgive all this just for how much superior the dynamic poses are here than the first. I asked my fans to vote for their favorite of the trilogy, and I'm surprised to see #1 on top. I didn't get it, but then I learned why I shouldn't have paused the film halfway through to gush about it. Once it got to the last 30 minutes, I understood.
Holy rabies. He's got a grandkid? And he never told you? Easy, Bella. At least there's another vampire in the family.
Yet again, they shoehorn another villain, a bunch of man-bats along with Dracula's father, played by Mel Brooks, the comedy legend who gave us Blazing Samurai and Spaceballs, the animated series, only on G4. They really rush them into the plot as it becomes a big, dumb, stupid fight scene followed by a dance-off. Okay, I take it back. While it does not look as good, Part 1 was a better film. I guess we can partially blame Adam Sandler for this, since he was a writer for Part 2. If you remember the 2014 Sony Pictures hack, a lot of emails were leaked, some of which revealed that Adam had a lot of control on the film and was kind of a jerk. The emails contained Sony executives ranting about him and how Adam wanted $200 million for a Candyland movie. That did not happen, as a then recent big budget film he starred in, Pixels, was not profitable enough and Sony was kind of done with his BS. So Adam ran off to make movies for Netflix, but not before a third hotel movie. This time, Sony appreciated how Gendy was easier to work with and basically gave him the most creative control. So let's see how Part 3 stacks up.
Great job, vampires. Give yourselves a hug.
We'll be back after these messages. Surfshark VPN, yes sir, the sponsor of tonight's video. What's a VPN? It's great, it changes your internet region and protects your privacy. You got Netflix, just switch regions and bam, you can see what other countries have on their Netflix. It's that easy. How about something to keep you safe, especially on public Wi-Fi? Nothing can stop you. Use the code RebelTaxi to get 83% off plus 3 extra months. This deal won't be around much longer, so get in on that. Don't like that? You got a 30-day money-back guarantee. Oh, what? You got an incognito window on your browser? Wow, that's completely useless. Surfshark VPN. It's got clean web. This thing will block malicious ads and will notify you if your passwords are at risk. Don't trust an internet provider, trust Surfshark VPN. Again, use the code RebelTaxi to get 83% off plus 3 extra months while you still can. You got a 30-day money-back guarantee. VPN.
I'm Steve Barrick from Fox 17, and this is my buddy Frank, and my other buddy Frank, inviting you to look for the Gotta Have a Monster Bash display at all participating Central Iowa Fairway stores. Stock up on Pepsi and snack food from Frito-Lay for your Halloween party and register to win one of 4 trips for 2 to Universal Studios in Orlando or Holly. It's the Gotta Have a Monster Bash brought to you by Pepsi, Frito-Lay, Fairway Stores, and Fox 17.
Surprise!
Released as a short before the Emoji Movie in 2017, Puppy is the only good part of going to see the Emoji Movie. Mavis's kid, Dennis, wants a dog, and Dracula can't say no to him, so the dog causes all sorts of hijinks. A done-before premise, but the animation is still top-notch, as yet again it was written and directed by Genndy, because Sony owns his eternal soul. God, just let the man do Popeye or something new, Sony. This actually ties into the movie, since it's the only explanation as to why they have a dog now in part 3. Yeah, that's good. Get ready to blame Canada, as in 2017 was Hotel Transylvania the series. It's a prequel starring young Mavis looking after the hotel while her dad is away. She's accompanied by her friends who weren't in any of the movies I covered, which implies they all died.
Nothing makes a wedding more special than a speech from the heart.
Here, borrow mine. Oh, on second thought, I might need it.
With how fun-loving Jonathan was, I'm surprised they didn't have this cartoon take place after the first movie, but props to them for doing something new. This cartoon's fun, the 2D vector animations work well enough, and they make great use out of their quirks.
We've been inseparable since birth. Fun fact about blabs, the males birth the babies. You see, they just...
I can't hear you.
Now, obviously, none of the voices return from the movie, and Drac isn't here much, but when he is, oh boy.
Now, maybe, why would I need a tennis ball machine for my trip to the Vampire Council?
That's his voice? Mavis, I'm in complete pain. Help me. The art looks like a typical Canadian cartoon, though others call it a star versus clone. It does a good enough job, nothing amazing, but true, this franchise has looked better in 2D before with Mr. Foot and other entries. I've only watched a few episodes for this video. I don't know if this would ever be anyone's favorite show, but I'd leave this on in the background. It has some pretty funny moments.
You snuck away from the Vampire Council just for me? But wait, what if they tear off your limbs and replace them with construction pylons?
Then I'll stop traffic. Where you'll embark on a monster cruise of a lifetime.
A cruise?
Surprise!
Oh, no, but it's just like a hotel on the water.
And now for the lowest point of the franchise so far, Part 3, Summer Vacation from 2018. It really feels like they were out of steam by this point. The entire hotel decides to take a vacation on a cruise ship while Drac feels alone without a wife. Here, we watch Dracula fall in love with this cruise ship director while everyone else gets into pointless skits that don't advance the plot. The climax of the film lacks pacing, almost like it's going half the speed or something. The whole movie should have been cut in half. I would never recommend this entry, but the animation saves it. It's hard to imagine this series looking any better with shots like this. They mastered the art style, and unlike the previous entries, they properly introduce and space out the antagonists, here being Van Helsing.
Oh no, not this clown again.
I compare this sequel to SpongeBob's second movie, Sponge Out of Water, where it doesn't feel like a cinematic experience, but more like a series of animated shorts, and I guess that's fine. It wasn't trying to be anything more. It was just the animators wanting to give us a Looney Tunes sort of experience. Yet I personally don't care for these types of formats in movies, which is why I prefer the previous films, and feel this should have been a special on TV. Though I can understand if someone were to rank Part 3 over 2.
It's a giant rocket!
There's a place you gotta be, 1,000 leagues beneath the sea.
This installment released at a pretty bad time for Sony. Sure, it was nice of the studio to let Genndy become a writer for this one, but they also canceled 2 of the movies he was going to direct. The Popeye reboot, as well as an original film entitled Can You Imagine, about a kid going through his own mind. It was not a good time for Sony, and in general, it seems like the Transylvania franchise has always had a lot of issues, even down to the designs. Now, you may notice Frankenstein doesn't have any bolts on his neck. Well, apparently Frankenstein is in the public domain, but the version of him having bolts and green skin was Universal Studios' idea when they loosely adapted the book. They own those elements of Frankenstein. There were a lot of these rules the movie had to follow. No red capes on Dracula, the Bride of Frankenstein couldn't be called the Bride of Frankenstein, or have more than one streak in her hair. That streak could not be a thunderbolt. Public domain rules are wild. The important thing is, Dracula's daughter, Mavis, is still great.
I saw.
Man, oh man, I am so thirsty for some goth girls.
Yeah, goth girls, yeah, I'm kind of tired. I'm gonna take a nap after this. Anyway, she's voiced by Selena Gomez, but at first the role was for Miley Cyrus until she dropped out to pursue other projects, or so she claimed. 7 years after the first film's premiere, Miley revealed she was actually fired. Sony felt it wasn't appropriate. She infamously posed with a dick-shaped cake, which, I get this is a family film, but at the same time, you got Adam Sandler and friends here. Have you seen their movies?
I think I lost.
I guess Sony wanted a celebrity to market themselves for kids, and Miley was moving away from her Disney image at the time. Maybe? I don't know, it's dumb.
I tried one time to get the orange couch from Friends, but somebody spent way more money than
How much did they spend, you know?
A lot.
At that monster party last night.
Everybody out
Hotel Transylvania is a series that can feel like a divide between the artist's vision and a studio's demands, but it did so much to push 3D animation. With how big this trilogy was for Sony, it's inevitable they'll make more. Unless they have a real good idea for other stories, I kinda hope this franchise takes a break while Gendy and his team move on to other projects. It's clear this franchise has overstayed its welcome.
Look out, because this Halloween, Toys R Us is your Halloween headquarters. You'll find every trick or treat under the moon. A monstrous selection of costumes, and a dungeon full of decorations. At prices so low, you'll howl. So this Halloween, bring the entire family to Toys R Us for a Halloween selection so huge. It's scary.